Welcome to the Time Management Podcast with me, your host, Abigail Barnes. I'm a productivity coach, global speaker, time management author, and award-winning entrepreneur on a mission to share the 888 formula with the world and to remind you that it's your time. Leave it to me to bring you new time management tips, tricks, tools, and strategies, to introduce you to guests, research, and case studies from around the world, and to give you a simple 5-step process you can follow to uplevel your productivity, achieve your goals, and create a life that exceeds your wildest dreams. I'm so excited that you're here, so let's get started. Welcome to the show. It's you and me today for a conversation about how much time are you wasting people pleasing and if it's a trauma response. What if you're trying to please people who can't ever be pleased no matter what you do? This week on the podcast, we're diving into why we feel the need to impress people who can't be impressed, people pleasing and where it comes from, and if it's a trauma response that we can let go of. This episode is for you if you're living your life trying to impress others. This episode is for you if you're starting to become aware of how much your decisions are driven by other people's opinions. And it's also for you if you're ready to stop people pleasing, compromising, and putting yourself down to live up to the standards of others. Let's dive in. People pleasing, and what is it? I asked Google and it told me it is a person who puts others' needs ahead of their own. So my question to you, to me, to us is, who taught us the rules of this game? When did you first start people pleasing? Are you a people pleaser? Can you remember a time when maybe you ate something that you didn't want to eat to make somebody happy? When you went somewhere you didn't want to go? When you wore something you didn't want to wear? When you said something, when you did something that you didn't want to do? Is people pleasing a trauma response? What even is a trauma response? It's a survival mechanism triggered by the brain's stress response to help individuals cope with the threat of danger. So trauma is associated with a danger. There are many different types of trauma. There are traumas with small t's, there are traumas with big T's. And for the benefit of this conversation today, if anything I say triggers anything in you and professional help would be beneficial, please, please, please seek it. So there are 4 types of trauma response. There is the fight, there is the flight, there is the freeze, there is the fawn. Do you find that you are actively avoiding confrontation? Are there things that you find yourself saying or not saying, doing or not doing in life, in work, in relationships? And the first thing that comes up in your head, the justification, your mind is telling you, the story you are remembering is the point where things can start to change. What did you study and why? Where did you study? And if you didn't continue education, why didn't you continue your education? What was the motivator? I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. I'm just asking you the questions so that you can explore. Was it something that was driven by you? Was it something that was influenced by others? So where have you lived and why have you lived there? Why do you wear what you wear? Why do you go where you go on holiday? Why do you go when you go on holiday? Is it the time you want to go, or is it the time that's convenient for others? What clubs are you a member of? What gyms are you a member of? Why do you go to them? Is it because you want to go, or is it for some other reason? People pleasing is very, very deceptive. It hides in the shadows, and we create so many stories around it. The entire purpose of this conversation and episode this week is to help you, to help me, to help us, to shine a light on everything that we do, because there are so many rules and rituals that we're not even aware of that we are keeping alive through habits, through beliefs, through perceived ways that we have been raised, we have been taught, we have been educated, we have been inspired by others to act out, which aren't necessarily in our highest good. And that doesn't mean that the people who taught us were Machiavellian in their teaching. It just means that what they taught us was what they knew. And maybe that wasn't and isn't the highest truth now, because the world has changed, the humans have evolved, technology has moved on, and we are now aware of things in a different way. So this episode really is your opportunity to do an audit of what's going on in your life, and to then be able to decide what you're going to let go of and what you're going to do more of, what you're going to turn the volume down on and what you're going to turn the volume up on. So it also manifests as what you believe. So what you believe about X, Y, Z, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. It's very convoluted and it's very contradicting, because all of the information and the data that's come into our brains has come in from so many different sources, and it's not necessarily been filtered in the most effective way, because every day we are layering on more and more and more and more and more, and we never stop long enough to ask ourselves the question, is this serving me? So in episode 33 of the podcast, we talked about, are your thoughts sabotaging your time management? That episode was all about how we can remove negative thoughts. And the homework for that episode is also the same homework for this episode. Audit your thoughts for 24 hours. See it as a challenge to yourself. There is a link in the show notes where you can access a document that will walk you through exactly what thought auditing looks like, what to write down. Just take a piece of paper and a pen and write down every thought that comes up for 24 hours. The good, the bad, the ugly. And start to recognize that no thought is good or bad or ugly. It's just a thought. It's just a story you are telling to yourself over and over and over again. And one of my mentors was talking about money in a training that I was in the other day. And in that training, someone asked a question about, but if I have this, then what about this? And they said, I don't have those two things tied together. I don't have how much somebody will invest in my training tied to how much I am worth. So if somebody says they don't want to invest in my training, that is no reflection on their worth, because they haven't tied the two things together. So what things have you tied together in your life? Perhaps it's how much you're paid is a reflection of how much you're worth. Perhaps it's your job title. For me, for years, it was my job title. It was my handbag. It was my shoes. When I have these shoes, then I will be taken seriously. And it was a pleasing mentality, because it was trying to fit in, trying to please, trying to be like everybody else. How much money, time, effort, and energy I wasted on that, I can't even begin to tell you. Awareness is the key to change. Once you become aware, once I become aware, once we become aware, that's when things can change. And what is so interesting is I truly believe that time management is 80% mindset and 20% strategy. That's why time management training sometimes doesn't work, because you are not doing what you know. You are not doing what you have learned. If we've been hanging out on the podcast before and you haven't audited your time, why haven't you audited your time? We've got episode 15 where we talk about where is all your time going. It walks you through exactly how to do it. There are links in the show notes that walk you through exactly how to do it. There's a free option, there's a paid option, there's an option to work with me, there's an option to do it on your own, there's an option to buy the book, there's an option to download the free chapter of the book. Ask yourself, what is stopping you from taking that step. I truly, truly believe the more I have done this work, the longer I have been doing it for, over 10 years now, our time management is a direct reflection of our self-worth. When I hear somebody say, I don't have time to exercise, I hear them say, my health isn't worth my time. I don't have time to meal prep. My body isn't worth my time. I don't have time for XYZ. XYZ is not worth my time. You get what you believe you're worth. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you believe you can have. Law of attraction is so, so simple, but gets so complicated by all of the different rules and rituals. In essence, like energy is attracted to like energy. If your energy is sending out the vibration of the thing that you want, you will receive it. If your energy is sending out, I'm not worthy of it, I'm not worth it, I don't deserve it, I can't be trusted with it. If you feel that in any part of you, then that is the message, and you are attracting back more of that, which is questioning your worth and questioning what you can receive. If hardworking people were the ones who made all the money, then wouldn't all the hardworking people in the world have all the money? So the belief is I need to work hard for it. Now, I'm not discounting that we don't need to work. I'm asking us to question the word hard. I'm asking us to question the rules and the rituals that we have decided, the processes, the boxes we need to tick. I need this first, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then I can have it. Well, that's why there's a delay in the manifestation that you're requesting. Imagine that you are going into the AI and you are asking it a question. It answers the question that you ask. But if you don't ask it the right question, you won't get the right answer. If you want a different answer, you'll need to ask a different question. Coming back to the conversation that we were having earlier about the book, and there's free options to audit your time, there's paid options to audit your time. Is one of the questions that you need to ask yourself, would I take doing a time audit more seriously if I paid for it? They say that the transformation is in the transaction. And that's exactly what I found when I've invested thousands in coaches, mentors, masterminds, programs, retreats, trainers, that I've always showed up when I put my money into something, whether it's buying a book, whether it's investing thousands in a training. There is something that triggers a worth in me of I have seen my own worth, invested in this training for myself, therefore I must show up. Now, I haven't shown up for every single training that I've invested fully, because some of the trainings that I've invested in over the years have been out of either scarcity or out of a self-worth challenge, where I convinced myself I needed that training in order to be able to do X, Y, or Z. Why I'm sharing this is nothing is ever cut or dry. There isn't one way or the other way. There's shades of everything. But in every single training that I've invested in, whether I have fully gone all in on it or not, I have learned a lesson. And sometimes I've learned the lesson that in paying for the training that was bought out of a scarcity mindset, I suddenly realized I was in a scarcity mindset, and that training wasn't the vibration that I needed to be in anymore. Once you start asking different questions, you will begin getting different answers. And it really comes down to how fast can things change? Things will change as fast as you allow them to, as fast as you believe it's possible. Because time doesn't truly exist how we believe time exists. That's a conversation for another episode. But I would love you to just consider that all of the rules and regulations that we are living by are all being upgraded all the time. They are all being researched. They are all having new discoveries made about them. So, yes, you can do quick fixes to get your way back, but it won't last unless you address this self-worth root in why am I people pleasing? If you're listening to this episode and things are coming up for you, you're new to the podcast, episode 25, we talked about imposter syndrome and the big secret that nobody is telling you. Episode 37, we talked about, is procrastination actually a trauma response? Episode 41, we were discussing, is your mindset killing your productivity? We were looking at growth mindset, fixed mindset, the work of Carol Dweck. In episode 39, we were talking about efficiency and effectiveness and playing the productivity game. So it isn't necessarily about doing something really, really well. It's about doing the thing that will make the difference, that will move the needle, because we can be really productive at the wrong thing. And then finally, episode 24, human design, the science of differentiation. Human design is a combination of a number of different ancient and modern disciplines. And when you put your data into the free tests that are available online, you will get your own unique chart, which will tell you which centers are open and closed, which gates and channels are active, what your strategy is, what your authority is, what your type is, what your profile is. And from here, you will be able to understand how each of these is impacting you on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Your open centers mean that you are open to the influence of the world. It means that you don't have an internal answer or source of information. However, the closed centers can also come with their own challenges that, say, if you have the closed Ajna center, which is the second one down, you might find it really difficult to change your mind. But if it's open, you might find it really difficult to stick to a decision, which can be good and it can be challenging. So when you do your chart and when you look at it, the story that it tells you can help to clarify your intuition about why things have been happening, how they've been happening. It can help confirm your views, beliefs, and feelings about what you thought you were good at. When it comes to your strategy and your authority, it can help you to recognize how you make decisions and how it actually feels and where it feels in your body. If it's an emotional authority, if it's a gut authority, there are so many different variations and combinations. I'm loving bringing human design into the work that I do with clients at the moment. It adds another layer to them with their personal branding, with their messaging, with their marketing, with their time management, with how they approach their business, their careers, and understanding how their design then interacts with other people's. I've loved sharing this episode with you today. It is short and sweet. There are links in the show notes. So homework number 1 is audit your thoughts for 24 hours. Homework number 2, do a time audit for 7 days. All the details for how to do that, again, are in the show notes. And homework number 3, which isn't really homework, but it is just on your list of things to do after this episode, is come and join us in the Productive Wellbeing community. There's a link in the show notes there for you to join. It is a free community and we have members who are all around the world. Last time I counted, I think there were 27 countries around the world in that group. It's really crazy. But I have loved this conversation with you today. If you would like me to talk about any other things in future episodes, then please reach out. If you love this episode, share it with a friend and leave a review online or wherever you're reading it, leave a comment. So until next time, my friend, stay safe, stay well, and remember, it's your time. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you loved what you heard, be sure to let me know by leaving a review so I can keep the good stuff coming. Come and say hi on Instagram at Success by Design Training, or visit my website successbydesigntraining.com, or connect with me on LinkedIn. Just search Abigail Barnes. Until next time, don't forget, you are amazing and it's your time.